Record to cloud. All right, so we've got Eric the John, ladies and gents, in the house. Eric, so thank you so much for being here. So really, the purpose of this interview is to sort of like, I'm going to ask you some questions to find out where you started from, because I know you're selling solar now, um, but I want to know, because I know your background, but I want you to go ahead and tell people where you started out, and then we're going to get into, a little bit of a sort of like a questionnaire and ask you some questions about selling solar.
Sounds good, brother. Well, I appreciate you having me. I started in the solar business almost 2 years ago at this point. Started as a door-to-door, just like pretty much everybody else in the industry, right? Knocking doors. And then I moved up to, running appointments face-to-face. Once the pandemic hit, it was pretty dry as far as going out and door knocking or running appointments face-to-face. So I actually ended up meeting you shortly after that, and you kind of introduced me to selling over the telephone. And I've had experience selling over the phone in the past with different products, and I've always loved selling over the phone more. It's just so much easier to hit more people. And once you develop the skills and the techniques to actually close over the phone, it makes life a whole lot easier. So I started that about a year ago at this point. Actually, I think as of this month, it started about a year ago, and just have kind of taken and run with it. And man, it's been a huge game changer.
Cool, man. So I know you started out with insurance first. You sold some insurance. So how does that compare to insurance? Like, because I know you probably did some closing over the phone with insurance. How does that compare? How does solar compare to insurance?
Yeah, I would say it's very similar. The only difference is with solar, you're selling savings, which I believe, obviously it is a higher end product where, you're selling something that's 40, 50,000 bucks compared to something that's, they're spending 60 bucks a month. And,
Right.
sometimes people, no matter how much you put in their head, like, look, you're going to be saving this much money. Even if you tell somebody, with insurance, for example, that you're going to be spending 60 bucks a month, they only look at 60 bucks a month. Right. So it's a little bit easier. But at the same time, it is difficult because nobody wants to buy insurance. So it's one of those things, man, where at the end of the day, it's all about activity, right? Like, you got to put in the activity, you got to be persistent as hell, and you just got to service clients, right? Like, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes, go above and beyond to fully give them what they need, and really just follow up. Follow up is huge, especially over the phone. That's the biggest difference, I would say, with going face to face and then over the phone, is because when you go to face to face, you can just show up at their house if they don't answer, right? Or you're in the neighborhood. Okay, great. Let's go stop by, Betty's house. They didn't answer, right? But over the phone, you have to literally become a hammer with the follow up.
Right.
But overall, it's very similar, very similar.
What do you think is a common misconception of people that have? Because a lot of people that still like the old traditional way of selling, like in home. The traditional kitchen table appointments. Seeing people face to face. So, what do you think is the biggest misconception of people that are used to the old school way of selling versus obviously the new way, which is over the phone?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody, some people just love that old school way, right? They just want to go out and sit, face to face. And some people, they're much better at that. But I think, if you can adapt to the ability to sell over the phone, you have a lot more potential long term. You might not get the same results right away. If you go out and sell face to face and you can sell, 10 deals a month, you're probably not going to do that right away over the phone, just because it is different. It's a little bit, it does require a lot more follow up, a lot more persistence. But once you get it rolling, and you can really make a killing. And it's really about, if you're looking to make a difference long term in the business, then I would say you have more of an opportunity to grow and scale when you're selling over the phone, just because, you can just easily tell your lead guy, right? Hey, just add this state. We want to go into this state, or add these markets. We want to increase budget, right? And you can hit more people. So in the beginning, yeah, face to face is easier for sure. But long term, I would say, building something big and building a business that, you want to be in this industry for a while, over the phone is definitely a scalable solution.
Right, right. So for somebody starting out and they've never done a phone sale, they're like, okay, I've done everything. I'm open to change, and I want to know how to begin. So what do you think What's your best advice for somebody who's just literally just starting out and getting immersed in phone sales?
Yeah, I would just say, learn by doing, but also you want to learn from somebody who's already done it as well. So definitely grab a mentor, somebody who's sold over the phone, whether it's, somebody in your in the company that you work with, or, look like always, my best advice would be to seek, right? Seeking is, that whole that quote, seek and ye shall find, dude. It's so true, because especially with the way that technology is set up nowadays, there's access to pretty much anything that you want out there. So if you want an opportunity to sell over the phone, go on Facebook and post in groups like, hey, who here is crushing it over the phones? Or, go interview a bunch of local solar companies and ask them, like, what's your guys' model? Does anybody here crush it over the phone? And the more action you take and the more you seek, the more you're going to find. So just seek out as many people as you possibly can in order to figure out what you're getting, what you want to get, right? And then once you find that, just take massive action, because the quicker that you can fail is the quicker that you will succeed. So, and don't get discouraged, because at the end of the day, the more adversity you're gonna come to in the beginning, the more you're gonna have an opportunity to succeed. So definitely just take massive action, fail as quickly as possible, find an amazing mentor that can help guide you in the right direction, and just stay optimistic, and definitely follow a process and a script. You're always going to want to stay on a process, so that way, you can make sure that you're closing the deals and getting to where you want to be.
I've been on a lot of calls with people, especially lately, with COVID and everything that's going on, and they say that there's no way you could sell a deal over the phone. What do you say to those people?
Man, I used to think, I would have thought the same thing a while back. But then once I immersed myself in the right crowd with the people that were doing it, then it was all possible. So you gotta, again, to go back to the whole mentor thing and the seeking thing, man, there's so much opportunity out there. You just gotta find the right opportunities. You gotta find the right people, because dude, I promise you, selling solo over the phone is possible. It is possible. I sell more deals over the phone than I do in person. And because I mean, if you look at it from a time perspective, right? Time is our most valuable asset. When you're in the field, when I was in the field, I could only run like 3 or 4 appointments a day at best, right? Just because there's drive time, there's no shows, and then there's all types of things that go into when you go out in the field. When you're over the phone, you can literally set an appointment every hour. You could have 10 appointments a day, and if you talk to 10 people, you're going to get a good chunk of those to credit. A good amount of those are going to pass, and a good amount of them are going to sign, right? So you're automatically putting yourself at a better advantage. Now, you just have to find that process that actually works, because if you don't have a process that works, then it's going to be really tough to sell over the phone. So you just got to kind of figure, what that process is for you, and then capitalize on it. Again, take massive action, seek out a mentor, and just go balls to the wall, and you'll be happy you did.
That's pretty cool, man. I think that's awesome advice. I've also seen, you know, obviously some people, like you, really. I mean, some people that live, I mean, actually, where you live is pretty cool, but some people, let's say, live in a less fortunate areas, meaning not that they're bad areas, but they might not be great for solar. Like maybe there's a lot of obstructed houses, there's a lot of people with bad credit, you know, and so you can escape a lot of that. That's what I tell people, by going to, let's say, a totally different location or even another state, right?
Yeah.
Like you can literally target anyone that you want, right? As long as you can get their contact information and they willingly tell you, I want to be contacted, right?
Yeah.
So what's how long did it take you to fully make the transition, brother? Like what was the time frame for you?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a pretty quick transition. I started off selling here in Florida, but then once I started selling over the phone, I realized that other markets were a little bit better. That were like you said, maybe they had a better credit, or there was more of an opportunity for people in those neighborhoods. There was already like more established there, right? A lot of times, and if you're in solar, you know this, right? If someone's looking at solar, a lot of times either their friends or their family have it, or somebody in their neighborhood has it, and it's just growing bigger in their neighborhood. So it did take me a little while to figure out what those markets were, but again, it just took myself some time, some money, and immersing myself with the right people to figure out where those places would be. The best thing that anybody could do to cut down, like the best shortcut anybody could use, if there's a shortcut, is again to find somebody who's already done it, so that way you can get the information from them, so you don't have to bang your head like they did. So that's kind of what I've done. I've always seeked out other people who have already been there and really accomplished where I'm looking to go. So the quicker you can find that, and again, the quicker you can just take massive action, the quicker you're going to figure out, exactly where you're going to want to sell. And then also, obviously finding a convenient installer that's going to provide the most utmost service
Oh,
to
that's
the clients, which
that is
is huge, because as you know, solar is a service based product, right? It's a commodity. They can get it anywhere. The only difference that makes, X company from Y company is their service. So find a company that's popping in that specific area, wherever that's going to be. And yeah, man, that's the beauty of it too, because if you live in an area where maybe no one is really willing to go solar as much as another area, I mean, you can always make somebody willing to go solar as long as you're there to educate them. But I get what you're saying, right? I get what your question is. So that's the beauty of selling over the phone, right? All you got to do is say, "Hey, Ivan," or "Hey, whoever whoever's you're working with, can you turn on this ad in this area?"
okay.
And that's the beauty of it, is you can expand at will.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're actually going to hire salespeople, eventually, it's going to be much easier than, for example, if you were going to go in Texas, for example, or California. You don't have to relocate there and permanently, or even for a short period of time. Like, you don't have to move where you are. You're not confined to your location. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
can.
at the end of the day, like, yeah, that's actually a great point you bring up, because yeah, a lot of people would be that. Well, these people over the phone, they're going to be like, well, you're in Ohio and I'm in Texas, or I'm in Florida, right? But at the end of the day, that's why you got to find an installer that's established in that area. Because where are you guys at? Oh, well, we're at the local office here in Austin. We've got plenty of crews. We do X amount of installs a month, right? And the next thing you know, the credibility is huge, right? It's right there, and at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? It doesn't matter that you're in Ohio. You can sell anywhere. You just got to have the right process down, and you got to have the right partners that are going to support you, and actually live up to the word that you're giving to the clients.
Mhm. What would you say is, let's run through the numbers real quick. What does it look like? Like, obviously comparing to, because a lot of people want to know about the numbers. What are the numbers? Okay. And obviously it would vary from company to company, from individual to individual. But what are the numbers that you've seen? Because I know you're pretty good with your numbers, that you've seen in both, over the phone and obviously in person. What's the comparison like? Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say in person, there's probably a higher closing rate that I've seen. But again, it takes way longer to get to those numbers. So overall, in terms of time efficiency, the numbers are gonna be better over the phone, right? Just because you can hit more people. But I mean, even if you break it down, right, the numbers face to face, it's really only, I mean, I've seen probably like 8% close rate face to face, maybe, and then over the phone anywhere from like 6% to anywhere from 5 to 6%, probably, depending on the salesperson. I know people who sell higher percentages than that, you know a lot higher. So it really just depends on the salesperson at the end of the day. But the thing is, what I think, it's kind of hard to say, like, what is the exact numbers for this person, for this, because it's kind of broad, right? But overall, your numbers won't be that much less over the phone than they will be face to face. But what I can tell you is, if I have like 10 appointments and I get 5 to credit, 2 or 3 of them are going to pass, right? So you can sell about 2 deals, right? But if you go face to face, again, I mean, everybody that goes face to face knows this. You can't really run more than, 4 or 5 appointments. 4 or 5 is like a lot of appointments face to face. If I had that much, it was like, wow, like that's a lot. Most of the time it's like you're only sitting in front of like 1 or 2 people or 3 on a great day, right?
Yeah.
And you spent the whole day driving around by yourself, not talking to as many people. When those people, I guarantee you, those same people that are having face-to-face appointments are having phone appointments as well with people like myself and other people that get leads from you. You know what I mean? Like it happens all the time.
And another question too, bro, that comes up a lot is why over the phone? And I speak about that a lot in my videos, but I want to know your take on this. Why over the phone versus something like this, like Zoom or even Google Hangout? What's your point of view?
Well, I mean, again, I just feel like, I mean, I know some people that will close over like Google Hangout or Zoom. Some people that will just close straight over the phone. It's just, obviously you got to find a process that works for you, but the phone is definitely efficient, right? So you want to make sure that time kills deals, right? So you don't want to be like sending if somebody can't open up a link or a Google Chrome link or a Zoom link, that can really kill a deal. That's killed deals for me in the past.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So over the phone, it's like you just pick it up and you're boom, boom. You're efficient. You provide, and you literally prove to them that you're a human that just wants to help them. Another way to bridge the gap with that is send them a selfie video to show them like, look, I'm a human. My name's Eric. My name's Ivan. I just want to help you out. Like I know that you're paying a high bill. I know that this is important to you. This is the program we're running. So you can kind of bridge the gap with your trust with just showing them like your face, showing them like this is me at my office, like so you can definitely bridge the gap there. But over the phone, it's more efficient, right? It's more efficient. You can pick up the phone, you can say, hey, I'm just getting back to you about this, and then they want to know like what is this about, like da 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 boom. People are busy, right? So it gives you the opportunity to actually talk to more people and be able to meet with more people, because a lot of times it's the information gatherer, right? So you're talking information gatherer, but if you set a face-to-face appointment, then you might not be able to meet with both of them, and then next thing you know, you got to go back 3 times and you're wasting all this extra time. So long story short, it's more efficient. And if anybody thinks, oh well, how are they going to trust me selling over the phone? Well, that's your job to make them like you right away. And also just weed out the ones that aren't serious. And then on top of that, again, you want to be creative in the ways that you show them that, you're actually there to help and that you care, by following up with persistence, sending them videos and just touching them from different, voicemails, emails, all different, basically every angle that, they can get hit from. So,
but overall, you would pick phone sales than going in the home any day of the week, right?
Personally, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, I know people that absolutely crush it face to face. Oh, they go and door knock, they go and sell face to face, right? But the people that I know that crush it over the phone versus face to face, the ones that are crushing over the phone just have a much higher potential, and they're crushing it way more. So there's just more potential. There's really I feel like there's no ceiling. You can scale it whenever you want. Hey man, turn on that ad in this state. Let's rock and roll. I got 4 more guys ready to go. It's much easier to onboard. It's much easier to just get it started and get it up and going.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, man, I appreciate your time, and thanks so much for your tips. I'm sure that people that are going to watch this video are going to find those very, very helpful. And it's just another man's point of view that's made it in the solar sales game, especially over the phone. So once again, I appreciate you, brother, and maybe we'll do another video soon.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. Appreciate you.
All right.